The Vane event is back from last year, but which class is the best? There is one big change to Vane this year, and that is Vane now has 98% status effect resistance. Bosses normally have 95% resistance, but this change means that Frontal Fire is no longer the best pet, and vampiric weapons are no longer the best. We have officially come full circle in World 0. Boss Bane weapons are back. These are now the best weapons for dungeons, low floors of Infinite Tower, and now the Vane event boss. But for the testing, I do not have every 0 weapon with Boss Bane, so unfortunately I am sticking to Vampiric, which means my times are about 20% slower than if you used Boss Bane and Crit Stack. The best pets to use for Vane are the pets that have high damage multipliers like the Penguin pets, Delta Slash, or the Red Lion. Penguin Slide is the best only for Vane and not anything else because Vane has an insanely large hitbox, so the Penguin Slide ability gets full value. The color doesn't really matter. Lastly, there are also power-ups you can pick up throughout the boss fight for damage boosts, energy recharge, or healing. Starting with the Mastery classes, the Hunter finished in 249, Necromancer in 254, Mage of Shadows in 304, and the Stormcaller in 244. The Necromancer and Hunter are by far the easiest and most reliable, so for me they go into the A tier. The Mage of Shadows doesn't really have anything special, so it goes into the B tier, and the Stormcaller has absolutely insane single target damage with the Thunder God ultimate and a really solid 2-target cleave during the Double Dragon mini-boss. This class continues to prove that it is one of the best in the game going into the top of S tier. Moving on to the tier 5 classes, the Shadow Blade finished in 301, Summoner in 223, and the Warlord in 309. The Summoner is very inconsistent because you have to bait the boss attacks away from your summons, which is very difficult to do, but the class is very easy to play and deserves a spot into the S tier. The Shadow Blade and Warlord are very strong options to use, but I am terrible at them, so my times are very slow. The Chains of War from the Warlord debuffs the boss, which makes the pet deal insane amounts of damage, and the Shadow Blade makes the final phase of the boss very easy because you can teleport behind with your Shadow Leap ability. Despite my slow clear times, these both deserve spots into the A tier. Next, for the tier 4 classes, the Demon finished in 254, Dragoon in 323, and the Spear Archer in 339. I personally don't think the Dragoon or Spear Archer bring any special utility or kit that other classes have, so I'm going to put them into the C tier for my testing, but the Demon is a very strong option to use because it is very hard to die, and if you're having a hard time surviving, I recommend using this class. The Demon goes into the S tier. For the tier 3 classes, the Berserker finished in 329, Paladin in 357, and the Mage of Light in 406. I think the tier 3 classes are the weakest in the game. The Berserker is a decent option to use, but I think the Warlord is a much better axe class, so the Berserker goes into the B tier. If you're having trouble surviving, bringing a healing pet like the Valentine Bear is a much better option than using the Paladin or Mage of Light. Both of these classes definitely are usable, but they deal very low damage, so for solo play, I'm going to place them into F tier. And lastly, the tier 2 classes. The Guardian finished in 307, Elementalist in 334, and the Dual Wielder in 233. Unlike my last video, the Guardian cannot take advantage of the Heartbreak Bear because this boss requires lots of movement. Because of this, the times are much slower compared to Nightmare Dungeons, but the class still goes into the A tier. The Elementalist struggles due to the 98% status effect change. Unfortunately, I am going to have to place them into the C tier. But lastly, the Dual Wielder. This class does insane boss damage and goes into the top of the S tier for being the most consistent and having the fastest clear times. And that wraps up my tier list. All of the clear times can be drastically improved with the proper builds and practice. If you disagree with the tier list, remember that everything here managed to solo the boss and is definitely viable, but some classes are faster and easier to play than others, which is why the rankings are different. Tune in next week for the challenge mode live stream where I'll be doing code giveaways. Join the Discord. See ya.